Okay, take 3. Let's try to do this. I made a video and it didn't work out, so if this seems a little bit rushed, it's because I'm literally running out of time to be able to finish this video. So you have 2 assignments that are assigned, and I sent you another video. I posted it with the assignment on Google Classroom today, so you should have another video to help you through this, but I'm going to show you again while I'm here in class with the rest of the students. So first thing, open up this picture called Wavelength and Electromagnetic Spectrum. Open it up in a new tab. So click with 2 fingers or do Alt-click and open it up in a new tab. And if you can, make it bigger where you can see all the numbers on there. Because you want to be able to see all the small numbers way down deep in here. Because you're going to want to be able to fill this out. And to be honest, you can probably skip this first part because it's not really going to be graded as part of the assignment, but it could help you out a little bit. To be fair, did it help anybody out? Was anybody even able to get it done? Well, he got his done, but it was just on the wrong assignment. So once you click on the actual assignment, it's going to take you, it's not actually an assignment. Let me go back and show you. Click on the one that says View Assets. And it will take you to a reading section, which actually doesn't have any words. It just has explore more resources. So if you want to go back and use the reading, you're really only going to use page 1, I think. Maybe there's one question from page 2. Most of them are answered on page 1. But you want to stay on explore more resources right now. Go down to the very, very bottom, all the way down to the bottom to where it says assess. And you want to click on this exploration. It needs to be the one with the green picture, not the one with a different picture. So you're looking for this particular exploration, technology in the electromagnetic spectrum. It should open up a new window for you, a whole different window, not just a new tab. And when this opens up, you're going to have an interactive lab that you can do here with the electromagnetic spectrum. It's obviously very zoomed in. Can I go back to 100%? There we go. So hit next, hit continue after you read the instructions. And the whole point here is you have to pick the electromagnetic radiation, which is the type of radiation, the frequency, and the wavelength that go along with it. And so if you come back here to the picture that we opened up, which now isn't very big, you're going to see the types of radiation in the middle, the frequency on the left, and the wavelength on the right here. And you need to be able to match these up to where you can actually get a correct answer on the assignment. And so the idea, and let me come over here and show you, is as your frequency gets bigger, your wavelength gets smaller. And so they go up and down opposite of each other. So the highest frequency has the smallest wavelength. The lowest frequency has the largest wavelength. And then you're going to have your different types of radiation that are next to that, starting with gamma and going all the way down to the bottom where radio waves will be. And so as you work through this image, you should be able to pick out all the correct answers on this part of the assignment. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go gamma rays. And what I want to look for in the frequency is the biggest number. So I'm looking for the exponent that is the largest positive number, and 19 is going to be it. It should be the greater than symbol and 19 for gamma rays. Then I want to look for the smallest wavelength. So notice that all the exponents are negative here. So the smallest negative number is going to be the biggest actual number. So negative 11 is the smallest number that I actually have. So I'm looking for the less than 1 times 10 to the negative 11. So when I have those selected, I hit find, and notice it fills in my gamma rays. So now I have information about what gamma rays are, and I'm going to do this for every step of the way. I'm going to go next from gamma rays, you go down to X-rays. I'm going to go the next largest one in frequency, so instead of 10 to the 19th, I'm going to find the one that has, where are we at? 10 to the 16th to 10 to the 19th. Select that. For wavelength, I'm going to have one that says 10 to the negative 11th to 10 to the negative 8th. I'm going to select that for my wavelength and hit find, and it fills it in. So I'm going to go through each of these and just keep getting bigger on my wavelength and smaller on my frequency. Below X-rays is going to be infrared. Yes. No. Ultraviolet. Ultraviolet's one of the ones that can hurt you. We use sunscreen to keep ultraviolet rays off of us. Pull your mask up in the back. God. All right. So ultraviolet. Let's see. We're going to come down to 10 to the 14th and 10 to the 16th. I clicked the wrong one. There we go. 10 to the 14th, 10 to the 16th. For wavelength, I'm looking for 10 to the 7th to 10 to the 8th or something like that. 10 to the negative 8th to 10 to the negative 7th. That's going to be ultraviolet. Then you go to visible light. And visible light is going to be a very small range, so it should have the same numbers. So on the frequency, I'm looking at 10 to the 14th to 10 to the 14th. And on wavelength, 10 to the negative 7th to 10 to the negative 7th. Because it's a very small range there. So visible light's filled in now. Next would be infrared. And that's going to be, 11 to the 14th? And then on wavelength, it's going to be -7 to -3. Fill that in. For microwaves, which will be next. What are our options? 9 to 11 on the frequency. And 3 to 5 maybe? Oh, I only have 5 down to 1, it looks like. -5 down to -1 on the wavelength. And then the last one is radio waves. And I will use the smallest number on frequency, which is 10 to the 9th, and the largest number on wavelength, which is 10 to the first power. So now I have all these filled in. And the key here is it tells you the frequency and the wavelength. You can click on these pictures, and it should tell you a little bit about the information about it. But to be honest, you probably don't need to do all that. What you need to do is answer these questions. So if you clicked on the right thing, once you get this done, or if you're not going to do it at all, scroll down, and you should start to see the questions. So you will have 10 questions here. You're going to answer them directly below the question. So just to go through some of these, there are 10 questions here. You can find most of these answers if you minimize this. Don't close it out, just minimize it. Come back to the page where we actually clicked on this, where you found the exploration, and it says assess right here. Go all the way back up to the top of this page. And if you click on the number 1 right here, it should take you to the reading. And this reading will have most of the answers in it. If you scroll down to the second paragraph, it talks about radio waves, microwaves, and infrared. If you scroll down to the next paragraph, it tells you about visible light, which they ask you a question about the wavelengths of visible light, 400 to 750 nanometers. And if you keep going, it talks about ultraviolet, X-rays, and gamma rays in this paragraph. And that should help you answer most of the questions. So going back, just to kind of touch on some of these questions real quick. Which type of electromagnetic radiation has the lowest energy photons? So low energy is going to be the stuff that doesn't hurt you. Gamma rays and X-rays and ultraviolet are bad for you. These are going to be the high energy photons. If you come to the other end, we have stuff that isn't bad for you. Infrared, we use for night vision goggles. Microwaves, we cook our food in. And radio waves literally bounce around us all the time. There's radio waves everywhere, and they never hurt us. So radio waves are going to be your lowest energy electromagnetic waves. Question number 2, which type of electromagnetic radiation do night vision goggles detect? I just mentioned that. Explain how the goggles are used to detect the presence of animals in the dark. So everything kind of gives off that type of radiation, and we just build goggles that collect it and funnel it into our eyes. Analyze the electromagnetic spectrum and identify the range of wavelengths that can be seen with the human eye. If you did this part up here, it actually tells you right here, that's your wavelengths for the visible spectrum. If you weren't able to do that part, you can go back to the reading, find the paragraph on the visible spectrum, and it tells you right here what the wavelengths are. So going back to the assignment, number 4 says examine the electromagnetic spectrum and identify the forms of radiation that have high penetrating power. High penetrating power are going to be your high energy ones. X-rays, they literally penetrate your skin and your muscles and go down to the bone, which is how we can see our bones through X-rays. Gamma rays go through just about everything. Ultraviolet radiation can probably get close to penetrating your skin. That's why we get sunburns from ultraviolet radiation, and it can ultimately give us skin cancer if we get too much of it. Number 5, differentiate between refracting and reflecting telescopes. This is actually going to be on page 2 back on the reading. So if you go back to the reading, click on page 2. Refracting telescopes are the ones that have the glass lenses. Reflecting telescopes use mirrors. There's differences in how they work, which you can try to explain. Also, reflecting telescopes, we can use mirrors that are bigger than the glass lenses because the glass lenses get too big and too heavy. Comment on the type of electromagnetic radiation used for television communications. That's going to be in the section about microwave and radio waves. So if you go back to the reading and read about microwave and radio waves, they will start to tell you about what those are used for. Use the electromagnetic spectrum to analyze the relationship between energy, wavelength, and frequency. Tell me, using that chart, you can use the chart that we opened up, or if you did the top part of this lab where you matched everything up, you can use that. Tell me about this relationship. So tell me about which one is the highest frequency and the lowest wavelength. Talk about how frequency and wavelength are opposite each other. If your frequency gets bigger, your wavelength gets smaller. If your wavelength gets bigger, your frequency gets smaller. So talk about that. Let's see. Give me a relationship between all 3 of them. What's high energy? What's the wavelength and the frequency for those waves? Describe the uses and dangers of ultraviolet radiation. What do we use ultraviolet radiation for? Why is it dangerous? How can it hurt us? What happens there? Tell me, are these 4 things true or false? Just put A, B, C, D. Is it true? Is it false? If it's false, tell me why, or correct it a little bit. Give me some sort of explanation. And then number 10, list the 3 applications of microwaves. Go back to that chapter where they talk about microwaves, and they will actually give you all the different uses that we can do for microwaves. So you can come down here, go to this 3rd chapter at the bottom. Microwaves is up top. Above visible light, they talk about microwaves. In the lower part of the chapter, the paragraph, they talk about all the different things you can use them for. So if you have questions, please let me know. I hope this video loads. If it does, then you will see me. If it doesn't, then you will hopefully email me. Good luck. I know this one's difficult, but do the best you can. Oh, at the end, make sure that you hit submit. Yeah, don't get up in my video. At the end, make sure that you go all the way to the bottom by number 10 and hit the submit button. If you don't hit submit down here, I'm not going to be able to see it. So make sure that you hit that. And if you plan on closing it out and finishing it later, hit save, or your answers won't be there when you get back. Thank y'all and have a nice day. Sorry the video's a little bit late, but it didn't record, so I had to record it twice, actually 3 times. So everybody have a nice day.